What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Rob from the Platform Orlando, and I have a very, very special guest with us here today. One of the best O-line coaches in the area, in the state, with the First Academy, owner of the Grimm Academy, offensive line coach, Jared Cruz. Coach, how we doing?
What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me on, Coach. Man, look forward to having a good discussion here today. I know we were kind of just chatting here kind of before the podcast, but hey, as we know, the whole team goes as the O-line goes, as we like to say. And I'm looking forward to talking about some trench work today. Okay, so man, I'm looking forward to it. So thank you, really appreciate it.
Right, I can't wait. So first, we got to start off with your coaching journey. How did it start? Can you walk us from the beginning to where we are now?
Yeah. Long story short, the Cliff Notes version. I've had a very non-traditional kind of route to coaching. I don't know how many people can kind of relate to this, but um, I grew up in Georgia, from Warner Robins, Central Georgia, born and raised. Ended up had a couple looks, different places to go play college ball, but I kind of was on a different path with what I kind of wanted to do post high school. Ended up playing at Southeastern University here in Lakeland, Florida. And from there, I went into kind of the private sector, man. I worked for Publix for 7 years as a department manager, or had a lot of good times with that, started a family. But man, my passion has always been football, always been about getting around other guys who are continuing to push each other and kind of see, how far we can really go and improve. And so I kind of missed that. That was part of my reason for wanting to get back into coaching. I made the jump about 2 years ago, going from Publix, going from a short stint in sales for about 2 years in tech sales. And I was like, man, like if I'm going to make the jump now, let me make the jump. So made the jump into coaching, reached out to a couple people here because I'm originally from, I still lived in Lakeland. Actually, I still live in Lakeland at the time. And so I just reached out to some Polk County schools, like, hey, you guys need an offensive line coach, whatever. Had a couple schools reach out to me. Lakeland would have taken me on, Lake Gibson, Bartow. But spent my first year at Bartow High School, man, and really just kind of learning, being able to kind of learn from the OC there, and kind of just developing my system. I've been blessed to really learn from a lot of great coaches. My high school, my college offensive line coach is Coach Flath. He's actually coached. I don't know if anyone has heard of Coach Flath. I'm sure they have, especially if you're from the Orlando area. He's coached at University. He's coached at Edgewater, Seminole, and then he ended up going to coach the Pouncey Twins over at Lakeland before moving up to Georgia. So that's where he's at now. So I've just been blessed to really kind of learn from some great coaches in my career. So it was kind of a very smooth transition into coaching. I kind of kept a lot of what I learned and just started applying it right away, developing my own system, kind of taking what I've learned from all these other coaches and kind of just applied it. So thankfully enough, through connections, through, I guess, people kind of believing in me and seeing what I have to bring to the table and seeing where I can add value to the kids around us. And thankfully I've had, TFA reach out and just say like, hey, like we'd like to have you a part of our coaching staff as the assistant offensive line coach here with Coach Mavetti. So I'm sure a lot of people know Mavetti from Mineola. Now he's been at TFA for a couple of years, and me and him really work well together. So we've kind of really identified what we like to do, how we like to approach the run game, the pass game, just O-line in general, and we kind of have our own way of going about things. That's kind of my coaching journey. That's the short version. But yeah.
I love it. And we were talking before about the schedule you guys have played. And you talk about a national schedule. I mean, that schedule is elite. Almost everything is on the road. You're traveling. I don't know how many miles that you guys have traveled to go play football games. What has been some of the things that you've learned about yourself? How does it affect your coaching style going against the top programs in the nation weekly?
Yeah, I think just the level of detail and preparation you have to have on a weekly basis. Honestly, I've never coached at the college level. I have friends who coach at the college level, and just if I could relate it probably as close as you can get to that, it is what it was, is how I imagine it. It is what it is. And just the level of preparation that we have to go week in, week out, how we adjust weekly. Sometimes, hey, we've got to be very keen on where our guys are currently at, what we need to continue to improve. We're looking at obviously the opponent, what the opponent likes to do. How can we best, attack the defense that we're playing against? And man, how can we take man, whether it's a win or a loss, how we can take what we had last week and improve upon it. So it's a weekly improvement. How do we keep our guys locked in week after week, going against a grueling schedule? I mean, you guys watch college football right now. They talk about attrition. They talk about, hey, who can stay healthy when it gets to the playoffs? Those are things that we have to consider as well because of the schedule we're playing. There's no gimmies. There's no, hey, we're able to pull our guys out in the third quarter. A lot of these games, all our starters are playing the whole game,
Right.
because of the opponents that we're playing, and that can have a toll if we don't properly account for that and keep them healthy. So there's definitely been some challenges, but a lot of growth as well.
Yeah, you talk about the toll on the players. What is your week? I mean, it has to be a crazy busy schedule when it comes to film study, practice. I mean, you're probably putting in tons of hours per week. What does your week specifically look like, and how do you handle that attrition on your own?
Yeah, I think Conaway, our head coach, has done a phenomenal job of just outlining that. I don't think I've really seen someone as just so dialed in with roles, responsibilities, delegation, and it has to be. You have to be dialed in at this level to be able to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish. Everyone on the same page. So it's kind of going into kind of what my week looks like. Let's start it off with after our Friday night game. So after Friday night game, if it's a home game, what we'll typically do is we'll meet in the office for several hours. We'll break down film, stat games, go ahead and fill out our goal boards, and then start to grade our players. Rolling into Saturday, that's when we're finishing up our scouting reports, making sure things are labeled in huddle. Whether that's for us, maybe that's the fronts, the blitzes, the stunts that we're going to see. We have everything labeled in huddle, and then we're going to take all that information. We're going to apply it into basically a scouting report that we draw out for our players. We'll post pictures, show the favorite blitzes, what percentage they like to blitz, on first down, second down, third down. There's a very comprehensive scouting report. We basically work on all that on Sunday, and that's just offensive line. Obviously you have all the other position coaches kind of doing their own version of that as well. Then we get into Sunday. That's when kind of what we'll do is we'll start to prep. We'll have a meeting on Sunday as coaches. Hey, what do we think is going to be best for the run, for the pass, for screens, that type of stuff, and start to develop a game plan on how we want to be able to offensively attack the team that we're playing against. Then we'll go into Monday, and now we're presenting it to the players. We'll do some film. We'll have a scouting meeting with the players in the morning, and basically go through the scouting report, share it with them. And really, Monday is kind of that refreshing day for them. We don't even practice. We lift that day. We just go over we go over scouting, and when we lift. So then go into Tuesday, we'll have a padded practice. Now we'll have basically our normal practice with inside and indie team periods, offense and defense, and scout and stuff like that. And then we'll do another one on Wednesday, starting to dwindle down some of the plays that we like or don't like, throwing stuff out, making sure we keep stuff in. What do we like? What we don't like? And then by Thursday for our sprint through, we should have everything pretty much, structured how we would like to best, our best whatever plays we want to run. So by Friday, we kind of have a good idea. We've already repped it, as many times as we can to be prepared to go out and play. And so I think the game is won between that Friday night and that Thursday, and so that's what we try to do. We try to prepare our guys. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. That's something I learned early on from Coach Flath, playing for him in college, and that's something that I try to do with our players.
And that's a full time schedule. I mean, that's a collegiate schedule there. I mean, you're talking about after the game. You're saying you're breaking down film for a couple hours. I mean, that is,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, that's a lot. 'Cause, I mean, you just emptied yourself for the game coaching, right? Like you put in so much work as a coach on the sideline, so much energy beforehand, and then a lot of times after the game, you feel like I'm mentally drained,
yeah,
right? And then you're
yeah,
going right into film study. I mean, that is
yeah.
breaking down the film. That is insane. Just talk
Yeah.
about that type of just mindset.
Yeah, I think what's cool about it though is people talk about work-life balance and family life balance. And I've got a family. I've got a beautiful wife, three beautiful sons, and just blessed with all that. What's so great about the culture here at TFA, and I can't speak for any other culture, but what Conway has done, what the administration has done for us is, after the games we have kind of a dinner time with the family, the wives, the kids all get to kind of partake in that, where it's just time to like that mental reset, be with our family, and then yeah, they do go home. We spend the next couple hours after that. So it's that little just attention to detail, and keeping our coaches fresh, still making sure the families are involved. We understand it's not just us as coaches who are filling that schedule, it's the families as well. And so there has to be a lot of buy-in from all parties. And I think the way TFA has gone about bringing not just the coaches in, hey, we've got a schedule, we've got some standards that we're looking to establish here. Let's also make sure that, hey, we keep family a priority as well. And I think we've done a great job of that. It is mentally grueling, but I think that's what you sign up for when you want to come to a place like TFA. You're not looking for, hey, I'm just looking to do this as a hobby. No, the coaches here at TFA, the players here at TFA, what we know, we're looking to grow as much as we possibly can. There's a reason why a lot of our guys are going D1. There's a reason why a lot of the coaches that we have on this staff have either coached at the college level or are going to coach at the college level in the next few years. It's just what they've signed up for, and they know what's on they know what they signed up for. So, yeah, I think it just comes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean that's a. I mean, you said some really good words there, talking about just the mindset of the coaches there, because that's really key when it comes, especially high school football. I mean, you're putting in collegiate level work, and it's insane. So my next question for you, and we'll get into O-line play specifically, is how do you take care of yourself through this process of staying healthy, eating right, going to the gym yourself, being mentally sharp? Because I mean, as a coach, you can decline as a season, then you add multiple seasons onto. If you're not careful, your health can really decline fast. So how do you keep yourself in tip top shape when it comes to coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat it. You just have to be disciplined. I mean, there's things you've got to cut out, and I think just like we ask our athletes, if they say they want to be an elite at something, we know what that looks like. Hey, that doesn't mean that you're always going to be able to go home and play video games all the time or do this or do that. There's you've got to manage your time very well. And guess what? When you go to college, it's going to be the same way. You're going to have classes. You're asked to be a student athlete, student first. So you've got to be able to manage all those. So we're teaching our kids, well, in order for us to be able to teach that, we have to be that example for them. So I try to keep my schedule as simple as possible so that I can continue to be repetitive with what I do. So I've had to learn, I've had to grow. This didn't come naturally to me.
Right.
I've had to, and it's still a work in progress of, hey, sometimes there are just things I got to learn to say no. I got to learn to say no to, you know, thankfully we also have a staff that, hey, if something comes up or we need a break or whatever, we can communicate that within the staff and we can kind of, help each other out. So there is that flexibility and that communication to obviously understand, hey, are you fatigued? Are you tired? Are you mentally drained? That type of stuff. And I think we've done a good job of managing that. I think there's always room for improvement. I would like to see, hey, when we go back after the season and kind of give a look back on our season as a whole, kind of that, big 30,000-foot view. What are some areas of improvement? I don't think we're kind of got there yet because again, we're kind of in the season. And so I don't think we've really kind of slowed down to look at that level yet. But yeah, I'd be interested to see how we can continue to improve that area of things. But yeah, I think that's just kind of been my approach, and it's worked out. So I keep doing what works. I'm not going to change it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're building those
Creature of
muscle
habit.
memory in yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that definitely.
yeah,
Let's talk about the meeting room with the O line. What's the mentality like? How do you guys deliver the information? I mean, the one thing I love about offensive line play is that you have to have five guys playing all in sync. And for me as a coach, it's like I always love going into the O-line room because it's such a family, it's such a brotherhood in there, more than any other position. And a lot of times you try to build those within the receiver room, quarterback room, running back room, but it's very hard to have that type of brotherhood because you rely on everybody so much, the communication and all that. So can you just break us down in the meeting room? What does it look like? What's the mentality? Like, how do you relay that information to the?
yeah. For those who haven't had the chance to be in an offensive line meeting room, kind of give you a glimpse here. It's different. It's different. Like you said, you hit on the brotherhood. Usually, the offensive line is the closest group of players on the whole team. but that doesn't mean we don't get after it. We'll cut up. We're boys. And we'll have fun. But when it's time to get to work, it's time to get to work. And sometimes and what's great about offensive line is we can be very honest with performance, because at the end of the day, football it's hey, what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're
Right.
looking at coaches right now in the college level who have had great success find themselves without a job because of lack of performance. And so it's the same thing with offensive line play. We can be very honest with them. We also know, hey, what are their goals like? So when we sit in these meetings and we talk about film, or we're breaking something down, it is always from a place of love. It is always from a place of, hey, we care about you. We know what your goals are. You coming to TFA shows us that, hey, or you being a part of this culture shows us what you're wanting, the same things we're wanting for you. How can we get you there? Well, we got to work on these things. So it can be very intense at times, but it can also, we know how to lighten it up, have a good time too. So I don't think I necessarily have anything specific. We'll just break down film. We'll talk about things together. And that's the huge part is, hey, if you're not making those meetings, you just probably don't need to be at TFA. You know what I'm saying? If you can't make those
Right.
meetings. So that's number one. You're just not going to be a part of our offensive line. So that's kind of the standard. So we set a very high standard for our guys. And then really we challenge our guys to continue to put in work outside of the meetings. It's honestly, that's the guys who have shown the most improvement, or getting the highest grades when we grade out O-line. They're the ones who continually watch film the most outside of the normal meeting times. So you're talking about players that we have that are going above and beyond just the required standard meetings that we as coaches set for them. There are players who are just as dedicated as we are as coaches, and that fires us up that, hey, you know what, these guys really have a big dream for themselves to go play D1. We have Chancellor Barclays committed to Clemson, Reed Ramsire, who's a 4-star tackle or interior offensive lineman, I think, according to 247. And I know he's got offers from basically Miami, Ohio
Right.
State, whatever, you name it. So those guys are counting on us. So it kind of keeps the accountability on us as coaches to make sure that, hey, we're getting the most out of each meeting as possible, because again, that's why we're doing what we're doing. It's for these kids. How can we help them out? So little glimpse into the O-line life. I mean, you'd have to join it and kind of get to feel it, because again, I feel like there is a kind of exclusivity to it. You'd have to be
Right.
there to really feel it, but it is different. It definitely moves different for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have to be. I mean, the offensive line is the personalities of the offensive line is what I love the most. Is people don't realize, because I mean, a lot of times the light's not shine on offensive linemen as much as some of the other players, but the personalities are just amazing. You said talk to offensive linemen for a little bit. I mean, they're, like you said, they're cutting up, but they're serious, right? Like
Yeah.
they're going to pancake you. They're going to do all those other things, man. That it's just such a community and a camaraderie. I mean, every football coach loves offensive line play and defensive line play, because at the end of the day, if you don't have offensive line, regardless of what scheme you're running, you will not be successful at anything you do. I mean, you're not going to win many games. That's for sure. So I know you talked about the top two guys that you have. I mean, you got studs at the First Academy. That's for sure. It's one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the state of Florida. I mean, it's just guys all over the place. Just like you mentioned, the top two. Can you talk about some of the other guys? Maybe the other offensive linemen, as well as some individuals that are coming up within the next couple of years.
Yeah. So, mentioned the first two, and they've kind of been, obviously the backbone when it comes to technique and being able to perform at a high level. I can't obviously continue to go forward without mentioning one of our captains, Trenton Thomas. He's a senior. And really he's kind of not necessarily doesn't necessarily have the offers or anything like that, but he's the type of guy who holds the group together as far as personality goes. You always need a guy or two like that who, man, no matter what, they can always ease the tension, build the relationships, keep people on board on the same page. I think Trenton does a great job of that. And so, man, such value there. We do have guys coming up behind as well. We have Mason Price, Ashton Jones. I believe both of them are 6'5", 6'6", 330, 340. Some really big dudes. They know what they've got to continue to work on, because they're not anywhere close to that. I think Mason's 27, Ashton's a 28. class. Um, we've got some guys, man. We've got some guys that but as a coach, I always think about like, hey, we've got some guys, but there's so much room for improvement that still needs to take place. So I immediately say and want to give them their accolades, or at least be able to shout them out. But I think there's still so much more that we can do. They know what they've got to do. So looking forward to seeing their progression. It's us as coaches to be able to go out there and make sure that they can, do what they need to do. But they've got to want that for themselves as well. So some great guys. Gerard, we just had G's a senior, so we'll lose him as well. He's going to Colgate. Unfortunately, he got injured this last game. He's done for the season. Just a little knee injury. Don't know the significance of that, but I know at least he'll be done for the season. He's been kind of a staple. It was glad to have him back because he was out early in the season as well, versus some of those tough teams early on like Milton and
Right.
Central from Alabama. So it was great to get him back. Unfortunately, he is injured, but yeah, the guys coming up, man. Mason, they're starting to get some playing time because of some of the dings that we've had on the offensive line, and I look forward to their improvement.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into some theory a little bit.
Yeah,
So
sure.
let's talk about nastiness.
Yeah.
Do you think nastiness can be coached, and how do you go about improving a player's nastiness, so to say?
Yeah, yeah. I think some guys already have it. It doesn't have to be coached. It's a part of who they are. Somewhere along the line, in whatever part of their life or their experience, they found it. They have it, right? Um, I think it can be coached. I think it can be coached, and it has to really be done at the high school level. I think getting to the college level, it's too late. It is too late to develop nastiness. Is really, if there is a time to develop nastiness, it is at the high school level. And the only way, in my opinion, to get nastiness out of a player is you have to treat it like what happens when you put a dog and back them into a corner. They're gonna have to learn to fight, right? They're gonna have to learn to fight back. And so that's really the approach, is we have to basically force it out of them. Eventually, so much so that it becomes habit. Or hey, if you're not going to make that change, then obviously it's just not the place for you. We love you as a person, but football is a violent sport. Okay, you're there to win the line of scrimmage. You're there to take a man against his will and put him into the ground. And so if that is not your objective as an offensive lineman, and you don't show it, you can say it all you want, but if you aren't a doer, if you're just a hearer or a speaker but not a doer, then it's just not going to correlate to what we're trying to accomplish. It's not going to breed success. And so the only way to really get it out of guys is get it out of them as young as possible by pushing them into a corner, seeing how they respond.
Yeah, definitely. You almost owe it to them, especially the schedule you guys are playing. I mean, there's no cupcakes on the schedule. You're going against guys they'll be playing college football, they'll be playing Sunday football. So you almost
Yeah.
owe it to them. Hey, if I'm gonna put you out there,
Yeah.
I don't want to get you hurt. What are some things that you do in practice or in the film room to help breed that sense of nastiness?
Yeah. I think what Nick Saban talks about mental toughness is the ability to, I kind of forget how he words it, but he does talk about being mentally tough as far as basically your ability to not lose concentration, continue to keep great enthusiasm, and to minimize that time between, like, hey, if there's a negative play or something that affects you, that time in between you being able to reset is minimized, if that makes sense. And so what we do for our players is we've got to put them in tough situations. How do they respond when they're tired? Am I all about, hey, having a dog practice where, man, we just absolutely just are super hard on them and we're just trying to run them into the ground for the sake of doing that? No, we got to be smart about it. So we'll plan periods where we're going to put stressors on them. Maybe we don't sub you in, or are subbing guys in as Mount. We're keeping you in for an extended amount of plays. Hey, maybe we're going at a faster pace. You've got to be able to obviously get set, read the defense. We're throwing blitzes at you. Those are different things and different ways that we check your mental toughness. And then while that's happening, now you're hearing it from us as coaches, the coaching. We don't have a lot of time to coach. We coach off film. Okay. So we're a little bit different. We have the opportunity, based off where we're at, to coach off film. So we don't need to pause the play Hey, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing this. No, I'll give them 1 to 2 words, a little sound bite, and then we're rolling. Okay. And a lot of what I coach is effort. So I am looking for the effort. I'll coach all the technical stuff on film. But hey, how do we keep the effort? How do we keep maybe 1 or 2 little sound bites of technique? But other than that, they kind of get it. So yeah, put them in those tough situations. We script that out throughout our practice. Okay. And so that's a feel thing. It's usually a decision by Conway, who's going to kind of say, hey, this is how we want to handle this period. This is what we're doing. If we're running Indy, then it's me and Mabetti's decision. Hey, this is how we want to handle that. Sometimes we dial it up, sometimes we dial it back based off what we're feeling with our guys. So
Yeah, for
yep.
sure. Yeah, definitely. One thing I love when it comes to offensive line play in the discussion is in regards to splits. Right. So you see some teams air raid, you got 3.5 yard splits. I mean, you saw some crazy splits, and obviously they're doing that to gain advantages and all that. So can you just walk me through your mindset when it comes to splits, some pluses and minuses, what you believe in? Maybe are you a tight split, variable, is it opponent specific? What is your thought process when it comes to splits?
Yeah, I mean standard. I'm gonna keep it around 2.5 splits. Yeah, no, I've been blessed to learn from some air raid guys as well, where they've gone very, very wide splits. In
Right.
fact, I'm technically Hal Mummy certified with air raid, so I've taken his course and everything like that. So the way they vertical set, not necessarily the biggest fan of. Don't necessarily actually, I really don't like it to be honest.
Right. Right.
Love a
Right.
lot of the air raid stuff and really aerates a philosophy. It's not a set number of plays, but um, yeah. Do I like doing it? It just depends. It depends. It's all situational. Now the tough part is teaching our guys how much time do we have to be able to teach and be variable within our splits at the high school level. That's a lot of information. That's a lot of hey. How do I keep things simple, repeatable, so that our guys can play fast? So I can't always do everything that I might want to do at the high school level because it just doesn't make sense. We only have so much time with these guys. And so that's why you see very complex formations, very complex plays at the NFL level. These guys spend every waking minute basically doing football. We don't have that luxury. So we've got to be able to dumb it down a little bit. So, or keep things very simple, simplistic. So I'll go 2 foot splits. I'll go, and then on top of splits, I'll go, I will tell them, hey, you can cheat your split down. Obviously, if you're pulling or something like that, hey,
For sure.
where it just makes a little bit more sense that, hey, you're going to have a better, easier approach, of attack on a defender or on a double team. Maybe you can tighten it down by like a little half step, something like that. But again, at that point, you don't want to give tails away to the defense. So
Right.
we're not making huge adjustments there. We're keeping everything basically very vanilla or at least consistent as much as possible. If we have now on top, like I said, on top of splits, we'll have our tackles in a 2 point, guards in a 3 point, unless we have an attached tight end. If we have an attached tight end, we can have our tackle put his hand down and go into a 3 point stance. So the reason why we like to keep our tackles in that 2 point stance, again, is really to see the defense, be able to pick up any games off the edge, especially in passing situations. Okay. So obviously, if we get goal line or anything like that, we can go condensed splits. Also, we can, put all our hands down into the ground. So there's variations of it. It just depends on, the situation, but we don't try to get super complicated with it.
Right.
Try to keep it simple. Try to keep it simple. So
Yeah.
2 foot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's a great explanation of it. I mean, for sure. And I've done the Hal Mummy stuff, and you don't have to. It's nice to go into different systems. And I was fortunate enough. I've coached, spread pro style. And the last offense I was with was wing T, and that was probably one of the best for me. That was one of the most eye opening things, when it comes to just offensive line tight splits and just really. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, So it was fun to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all different types of football, and you can incorporate little pieces of that. But like I said, it comes down to time specific. We would love to get to 1,000 different things, but it's like, all right, we can only get to like 50 of these. We
Exactly.
have all these great ideas and
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly. And those splits fit within what you're trying to accomplish as an offense. You know, Obviously the type of offense that we are, which I would kind of, put us not more of like spread option, that type of stuff. So it just makes sense with what we're trying to accomplish as an offense. So
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about pass sets,
let's do
kick
it.
slide angles, inside hand leverages, eyes on the rusher. Like, what's your mindset on teaching pass sets?
Yeah. I'm teaching pass sets. What I'm going to do is I'm basically going to teach them first off, which is proper posture. Okay. So we're going to start with proper posture. I want to make sure that they get set correctly. So what they need to, so I do a drill, which we call the posture drill. This is actually something I got from Coach Flath. And basically what I set up is 2 cones, and I need them to be able to move laterally left and right. A very slowed down version of basically the mirror drill. And what I'm looking for is just proper posture. I need them to be able to set and feel what that's like before we kind of move on to and add some things to that. So I'll even keep their hands behind their back because I want a big broad chest. I want their butt seated down. So I tell them, hey, sit down like if you just sat down on a stool, that's how we want you. That's how we want you sit down. I want knees inside my toes. That way we have inside leverage with our legs. That way, hey, if we get engaged with a defender, we try to get tossed. Now we've got basically those tent spikes going into the ground and working against that pressure, and so we don't get tossed over. But when it comes to pass setting, we set to a landmark. So, and it depends. It'll be situational too, but at least at the very bare bones, we teach them to set knee to crotch. Okay. So that's kind of the terminology. I know a couple of people use different things: knee to knee, knee to crotch, inside eye to inside eye, or outside eye to inside eye. People have their own terminology. Mine is usually just knee to crotch. So when they set, they're looking to cover up half the defender. Basically, that's what we're getting to. So you want to have inside leverage on the defender, keep your head on the inside. Biggest thing is, I think the biggest thing at the high school level is teaching them eye discipline. So I want them to find one spot, usually because depending on the side that you're on, not everyone has the logos on the shoulders. So I'll just say, hey, I want you to look at the V of the neck. Okay. That eye discipline, if it goes inside, we're taking a post step back inside. If it goes up the field, obviously we need to continue to kick with it, maintaining that inside leverage. If it comes to you, that's an indication it's a bull rush. So go ahead as long as you're in good posture, set your hooks and then sit down with it, hop if you need to. So that's kind of how I handle prep. That's how I handle pass setting. But in my opinion, Rob, it really comes down to pass pro is we pass protect with our feet. So
Right.
I think the biggest thing that I learned probably from Coach Flath when it comes to pass setting is he would always say this. He'd always say feet before hands, feet before hands, feet before hands. And basically what that gets. And so all the drills that we work, a lot of not even just punching drills, it's more so we work a lot of footwork drills in pass pro. If I can get you good with your feet, you're going to have a really good shot of staying in front of that defender. So a lot of the time I spend on pass protection or drilling it is with my feet. That's the biggest thing. If I can keep my body in between you and the quarterback, I'm good. I'm giving myself a chance. And so that's why you'd always say feet before hands. So yeah, that's kind of my philosophy on pass setting.
That's a lot of great, the verbal, because the more you say it, every coach has their certain words they like to, their certain go-to words, buzzwords, so to say, but it sticks into the offensive lineman's head. It sticks into the player you're talking about. You say it repeatedly, and I'm sure they're thinking during the game, all right, feet before hands, and just those things that's basically what it's teaching, right? That's teaching in a nutshell,
Right.
So that's awesing.
There's a reason why I still remember it. It worked.
Right.
And us as coaches, I don't have an original thought, to be honest.
For sure. Right.
I just do what I got in trouble for in school, which is just copy and paste. You know what I'm saying? Copy and paste. Right. Find the best ideas that I think will apply to our situation, and then I just run with them. And so I don't have an original thought, man. I mean, I get it from Coach Flath. I know Coach Flath has got it from other coaches as well. Again, right. It's a long line of men learning from other men. So that's what we love it. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so let's talk about stunts and twists in pass protection. But what are how do you rep it? What are some of the rules you have? How do you go about teaching some of the stunts and twists that your linemen will face?
Yeah, in fact, we worked some today. So we're kind of different maybe than most high schools in Florida, probably. We actually practice in the mornings, right. Which is nice. So we practice around 6 to 8. So we repped out some ETs and TEs a day, or as some people like to call them, X's and Texas, or however the defense likes to call them. So basically, for those who maybe aren't familiar, there's a penetrator and a looper. Okay, the penetrator is looking to penetrate the gap, while the other defender is looking to loop around them. Okay, and so a TE means that the defensive tackle is the penetrator, the end is the looper. Okay, if it's an ET stunt, the end is the penetrator, The tackle is the looper. Okay, they just switch roles. And so what we look to do there is it comes down to keeping our feet hot. So whenever I say keep my feet hot, that means don't stop our feet. Okay, we never stop our feet in pass pro. Again, what do we block with? Our feet. So these are the things that I'm saying as a coach as we're
Right.
repping this out. And then it does take proper. Now, sometimes we'll be able to pick it up in a game. Sometimes you'll see, hey, they're lined up a little bit differently. Situationally, I might be able to already pick it up, and I know, hey, as if I'm a left tackle, and now I can short set with this tackle here, who I feel might be the penetrator. And if I start to feel that pressure, my guard is taught to deliver that guy over to me, okay, as a guard. And so, hey, you as a guard, if they've got a TE stunt, meaning the tackle is a penetrator, meaning the tackle is going first, that guard's responsibility is to stay square, hold the line of scrimmage, and pass that defensive tackle over to the offensive tackle. And next buzzword, if something's leaving, something's coming. Okay.
Right.
So we teach them, hey, if this guy is going out of my gap, odds are something's coming into my gap. I'm gonna stay with it, hang onto it. As soon as I see him cross back over, now I can pick it up and maintain inside leverage. Okay. And so if it's the opposite way, running an ET stunt, okay, I'm going to set to the guy. I don't know if it's happening or not. Sometimes you can pick it up. Sometimes you don't know before the snap. But let's say you don't know before the snap. I'm going to set to him. I know based off how this end is coming off the edge as a left tackle, he's taking steps inside. My target, my via the neck is now going inside. Oh, got a post step so I can maintain inside leverage. He's getting another Coach Flath-ism. Stab him in the phone booth. Okay.
Right.
Old school phone booths, very short window, right, of space. We don't stab them in reach. We stab them in the phone booth. So we're going to jack them up, get our hooks in them. Okay. And then obviously this guy's continue to work inside. Now I'm going to feel that pressure, pass him over to the guard. If something's leaving, something's coming. Now as this guy loops back around, I can set back with him. And so that's how we rep it out. It's a lot of show them on film. I think there's a great clip that's been circulating around with Coach Saban as well that talks about, hey, did we teach these guys
right
the drill on film? Huge. I teach tape everything as much as I can. We're still in the process of building it out here at TFA too. So there's some things that we're going to really have for next year that are going to be just huge. Like every drill is going to have a video, and we're basically going to say, hey, like this is your archive of all the drills that we do. This is how it's going to be done. Boom, here you go. But yeah, that's what I do. Teach tape everything. Now you know how to do the drill. So when we get to the drill, we can just rep it out and we can run with it and keep getting as many reps as possible. And then we film our indies too. So if we need to, we can always go back to them and not slow down on the field, but slow down in the film room.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's awesome. That's a lot of great stuff. Let's talk about fronts real quick. How do you teach your guys to recognize and ID fronts, and like what's the process when it comes to that?
Yeah, we're pretty detailed with that, to be honest. We have a name for everything. We actually utilize our defensive terminology. So our offensive linemen have learned our defensive terminology for all the fronts that we could possibly run. Like just because they're in a 3-down front does not mean that they're automatically an odd front. Just because they're in a 4-down front does not mean that they are automatically in, an even front. There's specific names for each one that we're going to have. Now, this is kind of a little bit more where we get into detail, but obviously we've studied these teams. We know what their tendencies are, what they like to run in. So, for example, we're going to play Hun this week. Hun likes to 80%, 75% of the time, they're going to run what we call a G front. Okay. G front means the 3s to the strength. So that'd be your traditional over front, right? G op is what we're going to call for our under. So if the 3's away from the strength. Then every once in a while, usually passing situations, they'll run what we call odd. Now, odd does not mean just head up nose, 3 down, like you normally call it. What it means is a 0 and 2 5s. So they'll run an odd front. If it was 0 and 2 4s, we'd call that even. If it was a 0 and 2 4 eyes, we call that mint. So we have a designation for each, 3 different ways to basically call an odd front.
Right.
If you know anything about offensive line play, you could call an odd front just 3 down linemen, covered up, or a 0 nose, and then 2 wherever they're at, doesn't matter. But you could call that just odd. Hey, that's an odd front. Well, we have designations for each one. So again, odd, even, mint. And then we have some variations off of that too. So if they walk down their backers, if they like to bring both backers down out of the mint front, we call that cub. Yeah, so there's some detail to it as well. There's some detail.
And
But
that's why I don't think people realize. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I will say, here's where it helps us out. So the coaches maybe coach listen to this and they kind of like, why go into that much detail? Here's why. Now we can designate it when we go inside and we're getting a scout look from our defense. I can tell you exactly. I'm speaking your lingo. See what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm speaking our defense's terminology. I'm speaking our lingo. And then so when that defensive coach is calling scout D and he says their lingo, it's nothing new to them. It's how they recognize it for themselves, but also I can be very specific with it as well. So again, we're getting the most out of each rep as well. So that's why I think it's pretty cool that we do it.
Yeah, and that's the amazing part when it comes to playing O-line, just the detail in it. Is that some of the hardest thing for someone to pick up to actually be a starter? Maybe they have the physical tools, but I mean, you're talking about all the different fronts and the IDs and all that. I mean, if you miss an assignment, obviously, the play is going to be a negative play 9 times out of 10. Do you think that's the biggest step for a lot of these individuals to start for TFA?
Yeah, 100%. I think it comes down to you can be a dog. Uh, you can be. And some guys, as long as you don't have any missed assignments. So I think if you can be a dog and know who you're supposed to block, I think you're going to have a shot. You know what I'm saying? If you're just physically gifted, you got to be big, you got to be tall. Obviously, the type of schedule that we play, it's not going to attract just the average, everyday player. You know what I'm saying? The type of people who play for TFA are those types of people who, man, like they've got a certain type of build who are going to be able to go against those types of players that we play against. And so, yes, now if they're new, they're fresh or whatever, and they just don't have a lot of experience, if you can be a dog, sometimes being a dog can help you win some of those battles, but you're going to be inconsistent. If you can learn the assignments, great, that's a plus. But you're not going to be elite until you can learn the technique, until you can get your proper hat placement, proper leverage, taking the proper steps. Yeah, there's some detail to it for sure. I think you can definitely get some playing time, but being elite with it, where we want you to be, yeah, you still got a lot of work to go.
Right, right. So let's talk about pad level real quick. What's some of your mentality on when it comes to pad level, when it comes to
Man,
offensive line?
hey, I think this kind of you kind of go different ways, within the offensive line community. I think when it comes to pad level, strike low to high, strike low to high. My OC over at Bartow, Coach Try, he's up in Minnesota at a D3 college now. He'd always call it huck, helmet under chin. So really, does it matter how low I am? No. Can you strike low to high? That's a very Kyle Flood thing to say too, the offensive line coach for Texas. And he really teaches his guys to strike low to high. Can you be lower than the defender's pads? At what plane is that? Depends on where the defender's at. As long as your pads, your helmet under chin, and you're lower than that defender, and you can strike low to high and create lift, you're going to have good pad level. It's all about leverage.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
While maintaining all the attributes that you have. How can I still maximize your speed? How can I still maximize your length? That's why, again, go look at Saturdays. These guys aren't getting down super duper low.
For sure.
They just know how to play with correct pad level, get lower than the defender when they need to, and then be able to create lift and drive them off the ball.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. How do you handle the mental side when it comes to offensive line play? Just some people, the anxiety, the pressure, just getting under the lights against these teams. You're talking about St. Francis, all the other teams you play, traveling to Alabama. I mean, you're playing IMG. Like, how do you handle the mental side when it comes to offensive line?
I think, if you're talking about from our players' perspective, I think they pick up off how our coaches are. So I think we have to be the ones that model that for them. For me, I can really only speak for me. The pressure, I mean, this is why we do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pressure, I don't know. You'll get that feeling like for sure of like a little anxious. But dude, that's what you live for. You're normal. You're human. So
right.
I don't really read into that. I'm not over here thinking about it. It's just it comes, it goes, whatever. Dude, this is fun. So when the pads hit, man, you don't even think about that.
Yeah, I love that answer because you're just like, you talk about pressure, like pressure. We want that, right? I mean, that's why we're traveling to Alabama to play. We could have stayed here in Orlando and played the good teams here. You know, we're traveling for that pressure.
You
You
know,
know, that's
pressure
a
creates diamonds, and
right.
pressure's a privilege. A couple different sayings, however you want to chop it up. We that's how I approach it.
Yeah, definitely. This is one that always, I always think about this and going into a game. But how do you handle blitz heavy teams or a team that has a lot of exotic fronts?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess I'll ask you, Coach Rob, if I'm getting heavy blitz, where they're bringing 6 guys or more, what am I getting on the perimeter?
You're getting what you want. you're getting what you want.
And what type of coverage are we probably getting?
Probably man and
Man
things like
coverage.
that, right? Man coverage.
So, hey, this I approach offensive line, and this is really kind of my philosophy. I obviously I'm able to add input into our OC and our offensive philosophy meetings, and that type of stuff, how we want to attack a defense. But it's numbers and leverage. It's numbers and leverage, and so we identify whether their favorite blitzes, when they like to blitz. I mean, we played St. Francis. We played St. Francis. Okay, a team that literally has the athletes top to bottom on defense. That I don't think there's another defense out in all the nation that is better than St. Francis defense. There just isn't. There just isn't. They're holding teams to minimal points. And here's what they'll do. They'll mug up the gaps, bring 6, and play man on the outside because they've got a guy committed to P4 here, another guy committed to P4 over here, and this guy. And we've got those guys too, but they've got some dudes. So
Yeah, yeah.
here's a cool thing about that game. We let up 0 sacks. 0 sacks
Wow.
versus St. Francis, a heavy blitz team. There were some adjustments that we had to make. So if we were going to bring
Right.
6, one of the adjustments is we'll full slide. We're going to full slide. QB's hot for the last one, or we got to go leave one in to pick up the 6th. If they bring a 7th, QB knows he's hot. Okay, so it's just numbers at that point. Okay, and then we've got a game plan behind that as far as passing concepts to be able to take. We know we're getting man on the outside. Okay, what are some route combinations that are going to give us quick man beaters? That's essentially kind of how we want to dial that up. So it goes more than just offensive line play at that point. Again, there were
Right.
some tweaks that we made personally as an offensive line, but I think you have to now look at it from the whole offensive philosophy at that point to be able to take advantage
Right.
of it. So
When you're talking about tweaks, is this something that you're doing on the sideline, halftime, in the game? That's the tweaks you're talking about.
yeah, so like for example, St. Francis going full slide, and we do have slide calls. Like we'll have certain protections where we automatically slide. We have half slide, we have full slide. We just have a big on big type of protections as well. Different calls, different plays. Depends on kind of what protection we have. For St. Francis, just specifically, if we got the mug look, we could check it, or if we automatically saw it, our center would make that call at the line of scrimmage and use the language that we use to call for either a slide left or a slide right. And so the center was responsible for that call. That was something done in prep for them. We repped it out on Tuesday, Wednesday, see how we liked it, see how is this something we really want to do or keep. It was something we did. In game time, obviously 0 sacks versus probably in my opinion, the best defense and the best defensive line. The number 1 recruit in the class of 2026 class, Zion Lee, as their defensive end, had 0 sacks. Honestly, our opinion, Forkpa, which is the transfer from IMG up to St. Francis, our guys thought he was probably the better rusher over Zion Lee. So
Right.
kind of gave our guys a little bit more of a fit than Zion Lee did. So, but also we had our right tackle, Reed Ramsire, the one who has offers from basically every college, out on him too. Did a phenomenal job versus him. So we're blessed by players that make us look like good coaches sometimes too. So
Right.
yeah. So that's some of the insight into how we adjust to these things.
Yeah, I mean, you are blessed with good players, but you're not playing a team that only has a couple D1 caliber players. I mean, you're talking about the defensive line you just faced. I mean, you have good players, but it's good on good. I mean, so yeah, that's when it comes down to technique and coaching and the player's mindset. So yeah, I mean, if you had a schedule that was a bunch of cupcakes, and that's different, right? But you're playing good on good. That's when I was coaching in Texas, people were talking about how was, Texas football, and Florida's very similar as well too. But it's like every time you go to play, you're playing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have guys with me, but they have guys as well
no,
too,
for sure.
and they might have a good corner, and I might not have a receiver that can really. I have a good receiver, but not on the level that guy is. Or I have a good offensive line, but they got some guys over there, one or two that are probably a little bit better than the guys I have. So it's just one of those things that you're playing top tier talent. I mean, it is showing. That's one thing that I looking at your guys' schedule and I'm just so impressed with just like, man, like that's a no kidding
Yeah,
that's a no kidding
yeah,
schedule. A lot of it's on the road, so man, that's a testament to you guys as well too.
yeah. And
Bringing those guys up.
I think the average fan might look at our schedule, look at our record, and just say, oh, okay. We see the top 10. As coach, we could care less. But you'll see the top 10 teams in Orlando, that type of stuff. Well, hey, I mean, there's a reason why these teams won't play us this year. Okay, there's a reason why the Edgewaters, and I'll call them out. Tell them to come play us. We'll be happy to play any
Right.
team. They won't play us. Yeah, I mean, our record doesn't necessarily reflect that but we're again, we can always hindsight's 2020. I think we've learned a lot. I think we've got a lot more to go, and to see how much we've improved already, and the potential that we still have, and that we are continuing to see with our players, it's insane. We are building something here that is just different. It just is, and really, I can talk
Right.
about it. The only best way is to kind of come see it out, come see it for yourself, come out to a game, come see how our players play, how they're coached. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah, it's on the level with all the great programs across the
For
nation,
sure.
And so for me,
For sure.
I watch a lot of Orlando football, and I would have loved to see because talking about defensive line play. So I think the best outside defensive ends, outside linebackers, they belong to Edgewater. They have a great combo there. I mean, those two, I would love to see how they matched up with you
I
guys,
know.
and
It would have been fun.
they got some guys, man. They got some guys too. Maybe it would have been a fun game to watch. And then the inside, I go to Osceola, the
Mhm.
Cowboys. I don't know if you had a chance to watch them, but
Mhm.
they
We've seen
got
their
two
tape.
guys that are.
Yeah.
Oh, they're. I love. I watched them last week, and I love watching those two inside guys play. I
And
mean, they are number 44.
they got
I
some
believe
big
is number
boys.
0. He's the 44 committed to
Offensive
Georgia State.
line.
I would just love to see that. Yeah, their defense is awesome.
Yeah.
Their defense is awesome. I would love to. Those are the matchups that I want to see.
Yeah.
Those are great
Oh,
matchups.
hey, if you can help us out, put it together. We'll be happy to play anyone. But yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
No, and
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm
and miss
sure.
out on too. You know what I'm saying? We've got so much great talent just right here in Orlando.
Really
Let's
do.
play it
Yeah.
out, man. Let's play.
Really do. And me and my son, we're a geeky football family. I mean, we're talking. I'm dropping him off at school today, and we're going over. I was telling him I was talking to you today. He's like, man, I can't wait to see them play Lakeland. Now that's another two top teams. That's an area team. I love watching you guys play teams outside of Florida, but then Lakeland, that's another team that's gonna be a good game. I mean, I haven't watched them a lot, because I'd stick to more. I haven't had a chance to watch them, but in theory, that's going to be a pretty decent matchup.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to Lakeland too. I know they got some good guys over there. Drew Sapp. He's got some offers, and then defensive end Santana Harvey has offers from kind of everyone. Georgia, Miami. We're definitely looking forward to them. Obviously, Malik Morris, a linebacker, which I think they're playing him more as like a defensive tackle, defensive end type of situation right now. But obviously,
Right.
he's commit to Florida. And me living in Polk County, I kind of have that one a little extra circled on the schedule
A
there.
little
So
sauce for that one, right?
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. But we take it one week at a time, man. We've got
Oh, for sure.
on
Yeah.
this week, and once that game's over, we'll spend our 3 hours afterwards. And,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And from the outside, I mean, you have to look at it one game at a time, But for me, it's like I'm looking at the schedule. I'm like, man, that Lakeland was going to be awesome.
I know.
That's gonna be a
Hey, come
great
on
game
out.
for
Come on out.
Central Florida. Like
Yeah,
that showcasing Central Florida football.
yeah,
It's
as
just
it
one of
should
those
be.
things.
As it should be.
Uh,
As it should
Man, I
be.
got so many questions to ask you, and I don't want to take it. I
We'll
mean,
have to
we
do
got
a
to do a
part.
part two.
We'll have to do a
We're
part.
going to do a part two because I got about 30 questions. I think that we could.
Yep.
It's all in specifics. I
Yep.
do want to ask because the local guy that came, he plays at the IMG, the 5-star Brett Krull. How is that? Lineup. I didn't. I watched a little bit of the kickoff classic, but
Hmm.
talk about playing IMG and just that's one of the best teams in the nation there too.
Yeah, Cruel, funny enough, Cruel's been trained. So if you actually watch his commitment video, he shouts out Tank. So Tank is our defensive line coach. Tank trains Cruel, okay, with the Trenchman Academy. And so they've got a good relationship there. And so, we're very familiar. A lot of our guys do the 5v5 circuit as well. So there's this is anything new. We're familiar with Cruel. And we've got a great tackle, Sean Kentish, committed to FIU. I think there were some adjustments we could have made, and I think we've learned a little bit more about how to handle certain DNs. Like, to be honest, the best defensive end that we faced all year would be the guy from Venice, the one that's committed to Miami. Hands down, ask our players, and I think that's really always the tail of the tape is go to our players. Hey, who's the guy you've played who, like, man, like they gave you problems? Shari, I think is his name, Shari. But yeah, him defensive end really good. Now, obviously, Cruel is phenomenal in his own right. Definitely gave us some issues, multiple sacks. But that's the progression that we've talked about as coaches and as players is to go from that first kickoff classic to where we're at now, where hey, we, in our opinion, we didn't give up a sack to the best defensive line in the
Right.
nation. Hey,
Right.
that shows the improvement that our guys have committed to and the results that they've seen because of the commitment they've put in. So it was definitely a challenging first game as an offensive line, playing as a unit, not having obviously Coach Conaway as the head coach active in that
Right.
game as well. So very just a different vibe, and we kind of played like that initially until we kind of found our footing, a couple games into the season. So for sure,
Yeah, I wasn't
he's a
saying
good
that
guy.
no shade or anything like that. Yeah, I wasn't throwing because I mean kickoff classic. So for me, I got
No,
this
you're
theory
good.
question.
You're
I know
good.
like, I'm trying to keep it an
No,
hour. I
I was
got
just
this
being
theory
real with
question
it.
real
You're
quick.
good.
No, yeah. So for me, the kickoff classic in general, I've spent a lot of years in Texas, and we don't take preseason. I mean, preseason's preseason. You might play 2 quarters. It's not near what it is here in Florida. I know other places that kickoff classic as well. What's your mindset on that? I mean, that's a huge that's a huge way to start the season. A kickoff classic. What's your mindset on that in general? Did they have that in Georgia when you were there? And is that something that I mean? At the end of the day, it's a preseason game, but it's taken so seriously.
So I did. I mean, we've always played preseason games in Georgia. A little bit about my background in Georgia, real quick, before I answer the question. Is I thankfully grew up in a county where football is huge. Houston County is doing really well right now. Wasn't always like that. We played in the top. When I played, we played in the top division, basically in the whole state of Georgia. So in our county was Coffee County, Lowndes, Valdosta, Houston County, Warner Robins, Northside, Colquitt County. These are teams that have historically won a lot of state championships and always have really, really good players. So if anyone knows anything about Georgia football, that's the county and the type of talent that I had the opportunity to play against. But yeah, I mean, any team like that wants to be able to prepare for the season. You don't have as much time. So you either got to schedule games during your season that prepare you for the postseason because the goal is always, win. Yeah, you want to win district championship, right? You want to be able to qualify for the playoffs, but you want to be prepared for the playoffs. When you're once you get to a certain point where hey, you're a certain level, I think the standard raises where hey, playoffs should be a given. If we're not making playoffs, we're not doing something right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like
Right.
teams in the college right now, the playoffs are the standard. Like we should
Right.
make it every year. So how do we prepare for ourselves? It's all about preparation. Again, I think of a lot of great coaches. Again, going back to Nick Saban, not just him, but other coaches who it's not about the result, it's about the preparation. How can we prepare our guys? Ultimately, we're not playing playoffs this year, next year. So we're trying to prepare our guys for next year, trying to prepare our guys for the D1 level. So I don't shy away from games like that. I do think they're cool. I think they're great for the fans. At the end of the day, we are in the entertainment industry as well.
For
And
sure.
so, why would we not play a game that is really fun for the fans, prepares our guys? All I see is a lot of wins for us. I think the only negative could be, again, with a grueling schedule, being able to manage those opportunities for being dinged up and stuff like that. So, I think if there's one negative takeaway, it might be again, you're playing a grueling schedule. It's not a cupcake. You know what I'm saying? So other than that, everything else is a win for me and the fans.
For
So
for sure. I definitely agree with that. And the tough schedules, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I look at a couple years ago, Trinity Catholic, when they were having their runs of, making the state championships. I mean, you would see their record at the end of the year. It's like 4-6, 3-7, and then they're in the state championship game. And it's like, well, because you look at who they're playing, that they're playing up on like everything, and then by the time they get to the playoffs, it's like, man, this is easy. I mean, it's not necessarily easy, but it's they're well prepared for what they're about to
Yeah,
face.
every situation. Exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You want your team to be challenged, and that's what we try to prepare these guys for.
Well, Coach, man, we got to do a part two because, like I said, there are probably 30, 40 questions I want to get to, and I felt like in the middle, I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to get to half of these, so we got to do a part two. We got to come in a little bit. Now that we got some of the other stuff out of the way, let's get right into
Yeah, for sure.
get right into all these other questions, man. I really appreciate your time. Best of luck this week, and the rest of the season. Obviously, you're an amazing coach. We'll stay in touch for sure. But is there anything else you want to end this with?
No, I mean, hey, if you haven't had the chance to come out to see TFA, see how we operate, come catch a game, man. We'd love to have you. And then obviously for anyone who's watching here at the end, I mean, if there's anything else that I'm all about giving back, all about continue to help out other players, other coaches, any way I can. If there's anyone who um, maybe for the next one, part two, or whatever, any other questions or anything that you guys may have that you want answered from an offensive line perspective, man, I'd be happy to go into detail into anything. So feel free to leave a comment or anything like that, and I'd be happy to go into it. So we can always get into more technique stuff. I got coaching cut up
We will.
like that. We can always hit that type of stuff too. But yeah, man, I really appreciate it for having me on, man, and for hitting me up, and look forward to doing more in the future.
Yeah, we definitely gotta do a part two, but you can tell, like, I'm gonna brag on you for a little bit. I mean, obviously, a younger coach in the game, man. You can tell that you're going to be head coaching, college coach, whatever you decide, whatever path you decide to go. I mean, each person has their own path.
Right,
You're going to be a great at whatever you do. You got the mindset, you got the coaching ability. You just so you can just see it coming, just like a play or a good team, a good season before. When you're in the preseason, you're going to have a good season. I can tell definitely you're going to do amazing things as a coach. I appreciate the time. I can't wait to see your personal journey throughout the ranks. I mean, you're going to be one of those coaches we look back on and say, man, he's won a lot of games. He went as far as he possibly wanted to go. So I appreciate the time, and I thank you for the hour that we've been talking.
Yeah, no, I really do. Whatever allows me to have the most impact, man, I'm all for. So if that means college at some point, man, great, great. High school, great. I'm cool with it. So man, but I appreciate it. It's all about the pursuit of excellence, and that's what I'm looking to attain. So, but yeah, thank you so much, Coach Rob, for your time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Bye.